is there not an argument that if you MPs cannot decide on what's going to happen, that actually it would be perfectly reasonable for 17.4 million people to just say again, we're leaving?
No, what you've got a problem is that we've got a parliament that doesn't really represent the views of the British people.
Yep.
70% of MPs were for Remain, and a large proportion of those have never accepted the result of the referendum. There really isn't anybody who wants a second referendum who was actually for leave, so it's just a way of overturning the first referendum. It would do irreparable damage to our democracy. It would end the confidence and supply agreement with the DUP. They won't support a second referendum. And it would open the door to the SNP for a second referendum on Scottish independence.
Isn't the problem that when people voted for Brexit, there wasn't a clear manifesto for what that would mean?
Oh, there was.
And even... No, there wasn't. And even though we were told it was going to be...
There was.
No, there wasn't. And if you tell me... I'm sorry.
In David Cameron's leaflet, it said, we're leaving the single market, the customs union, the jurisdiction of the European Court of Justice.
David Cameron was not a Brexiteer. So all of you were confused.
Matter. That's even...
What's that got to do with it? There wasn't a manifesto.
There was.
Well, how could David Cameron possibly be responsible for a Brexit manifesto?
He said we're giving the decision to the people and we will implement it, and we're leaving the single market,
there wasn't
the customs...
a plan to implement.
Well, no, because David Cameron never planned for a leave vote.
Right.
That's why he left.
Yeah.
He said we weren't a nation of quitters, and then he quit.
And we've had 3 Brexiteers in the position of Brexit Secretary, and we haven't been able to come up with a Brexit that anybody agrees on.
Well, we were fine when we were on a Super Canada free trade deal. Theresa May switched that to the Chequers proposals. They, through negotiations and concessions, have become the withdrawal agreement. I told the Prime Minister back in July that Chequers was not acceptable to leave. We've now got to the point where she can't present her withdrawal agreement to Parliament because it will fail, and it's not going to go through. The withdrawal agreement is dead.
Let me ask you this, right? So I'm sick and tired of all this, as I'm sure everybody is. The EU have got us by their balls, right? And they're basically tightening the clamp,
we've got the money, Piers.
Let me finish, right? The plan is dead as a duck, right? Nobody likes the plan. I don't think even Theresa May likes her own plan, right? The calls for second referendum to me are ridiculous and just an affront to democracy, right? Actually, what is wrong with actually taking the big leap of no deal, of just reverting to WTO and then actually starting again and rebuilding all our trading relationships, but just leaving, going? Well, isn't that the purest Brexit?
It is. It's a clean global Brexit, and that's actually where we are. All the legislation is in place that on the 29th of March, we're leaving the European Union. People didn't vote for a deal, they voted to leave. And that's
so why didn't we just come out on no deal?
Well, what we should have done... Why
have we spent 2 years trying to avoid a
very
no deal?
Bad negotiation. What we should have done is we should have turned around to the EU after the referendum and said, look, we're leaving on the 29th of March, at the end of Article 50. We're leaving on no deal. We're not paying you any money. But if you want to come back to us and offer us something that's better than no deal, we're here to listen.
That's exactly what we should have done.
Fly over to London and come and see us.
We should have said, we are leaving,
absolutely,
right? Unless you come up with a deal which makes more sense to us as a country than no deal.
And the current deal is so bad, and we're paying them £39 billion in so-called divorce payments for it. I wouldn't sign for that deal if the EU were paying us £39 billion
No deal means that the price of goods would go up.
No, it won't.
Tariffs on goods from the EU. UK products may be
Food
rejected.
went up 10% when we
Checks on
joined
our
the EU.
borders.
It's going to come down.
The rights of Britons in the EU wouldn't be guaranteed.
Well, it'll be a controlled no deal, so a no deal, managed no deal. The aeroplanes will still fly. What they're going to say, the EU don't want to sell us twice as many goods as we sell to them.
And all this stuff with the EU, like I keep reading all these warnings. And like, in the moment we leave, then we have to pay the Europeans, £5 every time we go over there.
Yep.
Fine, we'll make it 10 to come to Britain. You don't think that most of them would rather come to Britain?
Well, they are, aren't
right?
They?
So why don't we just...
What, you're going to put obstacles in the way of our economy?
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play hardball. I'm going to play hardball. I'm going to tell anyone that tries to bully this country, sorry, but if you're going to squeeze us, we're going to squeeze you. Right?
And there's three...
And that's the way actually you get a good deal.
And there's over 3 million EU citizens who, despite the fact that we're leaving the European Union, see that their future and their family's future is better staying in here.
Of course.
What an endorsement. If only our politicians...
We've become so spineless.
If only our politicians had as much confidence in the post-Brexit future of Britain as our EU citizens.
You only get a good deal when you play hardball. Why should we believe all the economic disaster forecasts when actually... Right now, it seems to me no deal might well be the best thing that this country should be doing.
Well, we joined the EU 45 years ago, and over the last 45 years...
How did we survive before that? Seriously?
Hang on.
We had empire. It was empire before that,
Yeah,
right?
but
So,
how did we... Seriously,
can I
how
answer
did
one
this
question
country
first?
survive?
Yes,
Can I answer
answer the first question first.
Right, over 45 years, every aspect of our national life has become entwined with the EU. Now, if you're
Only
going
for 45 years, Sam.
yeah, but if you're going to...
In the history of this country, it's a pinprick.
I mean, if you want this to be a soliloquy, go ahead. I'm
just challenging what you're saying.
Keep going.
Can I just answer the question? So, over 45 years, that's what we've done. If you're going to unwind it, it is not straightforward. In the department I was in before, the business department, there are 73 different no-deal plans for that one department. Nuclear energy, scientific research around cancer, everything is intertwined. So it's a bit like saying, you know, you've got married, you've got divorced, and you don't need to have a conversation about how you deal with the children. That is actually as important as the fact of divorce.
You have to have a conversation,
itself.
but ultimately you do divorce. I mean, you go.
You do, which is what we said.
You don't normally go back
But you
every
have
week.
to sort the house, you have to sort the mortgage, you have to sort the maintenance.
Yeah, so you've got married, you've got to sort all of those things out. And the longer you've been together, the more your life is intertwined, the more you need to sort out.
What you don't have to do,
The irresponsible thing is to just walk out and say, I'm not going to deal with any of those things.
Exactly
that could be damaging. That is the equivalent of no deal and walking out.
But we would deal with them. We would just deal with them by being completely annexed from the European Union. We would still deal with them. We'd operate under World Trade Organization
Can I pick your point? Your point of World Trade Organization terms apply to trade mainly in goods. As a country, 80% of our economy is services.
But why would
on the government's own projections, right, on the government's own deal, services will be hit by up to 12%. Now, you said, and I heard you before, that it will be bad for a while and maybe in the medium term.
That's my guess,
Right? For the rich, they might rent off the third or fourth home, they might sell off the third Aston Martin, but for the poor, that will be deeply damaging and irresponsible for any government to pursue that path.
But you see, here's my problem with all this, is that these are the apocalyptic warnings we've been given about everything for ages, right? And yet very few of them have come true. Our unemployment numbers are great right now, right? The economy's OK, right? What happened to the big recession? Big recession that was supposed to happen within weeks of this thing. The governor of the Bank of England sat there and said, if we vote leave, it will be a disaster, right?
We haven't left.
Never happened.
we haven't left yet.
No, but he's the governor of the Bank of England, and he said within weeks of the decision being taken.
I'm not here to talk about...
My trust in their warnings is not good.
I would agree with you that on both sides of the referendum campaign, on the Remain side, devalue the currency of reckoning with reality. But on the Leave side, they didn't have a plan, right? So on both, and now the Leave side is saying we can waltz off into the sunset on WTO rules. Now, I am willing to take that if someone can show me a plan. What happens 3 months later, 6 months later, a year later?
Fair enough,
right? And I haven't seen that plan. Now, just take on your tweet again yesterday. You said, we are Great Britain. Now, we're both Arsenal fans, right?
Yes.
It's a bit like when Arsenal were losing, just saying there and say, we are Arsenal, we're a great team, we deserve to win the Champions League. Unless we have a plan to be able to deliver that, unless we are up to date with
what they did was got a new manager. Do you think we need a new leader?
Theresa May is the Prime Minister, but I think she needs to change course. And the first thing she needs to do is we need a vote quickly on her deal, because until Parliament... because until Parliament has had that vote, nobody can look forward to examine what other options are.
Sam, you quit because you lost confidence in the Prime Minister, right?
I quit because I didn't believe the Prime Minister's deal was practically or
so she should go, deliverable. Right?
No, she's the Prime Minister, but she can change course.
Yeah, but Prime Ministers come and go. Huh?
Theresa May is the Prime Minister. What I want to do is to change the policy.
So you believe she's doing a good job?
I want to change the policy. I don't agree with the policy, which is why I gave up the job I love.
Is she doing a good enough job to continue?
I would say that today,
You don't have to suck up to her anymore, Sam. You're free. You've gone. You're not in a government anymore, mate. Just say what's written all over your face. I don't think she should be Prime Minister.
No, she is the Prime Minister. You know,
I know she is.
I thought it last week.
I'm currently sitting here as a presenter of this programme, but if everyone around me lost confidence in me, I'd be gone.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, brilliant. Tumbleweed.